Welcome back. It's a beautiful day in the Big Bend area of North Florida, like 70 something degrees. Sorry for you folks that are up there in the cold. Hello again to my fellow veterans. Thank you for your service. Today we're going to talk about the 1911 A1. And yes, I do conceal carry this. Found a great leather holster, Relentless Tactical, heavy bull grain cowhide. If you follow their directions, your pistol will fit perfectly. Why carry a 1911? There's all kinds of lighter polymer guns that hold. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said guns. I'm ex-military. There's all kinds of polymer pistols with a higher capacity, lighter weight, easier to conceal. I mean, 1911 weighs 2.5 pounds and only holds 8 rounds with one in the chamber, which brings me to this. Here's a 45 and a 9mm, 119 grain, 230 grain, slow moving, low velocity bullet that does tremendous amount of damage in anything it hits. That's why I carry a 1911. So, this is for Jack 489 who's thinking about buying his first 1911. He's not sure. I have a poor man's, modest man's collection of 1911s. First, let's go over the history. At the turn of the last century, the United States military was looking for a new sidearm to replace, I can't remember, it was a 38 caliber revolver. And they requested at least a 44, 45 caliber, preferably semi-automatic. John Moses Browning developed the 1911 in 1909, and it went through rigorous testing with the Army in 1910. I mean, rigorous. It was down to two companies, Savage Arms and Colt, or Browning. I'm not sure. It's a little hazy there. The test was 6,000 rounds in 2 days. They were fired continuously. When they got too hot, they were dumped in a bucket of cool water to cool them down. At the end of 2 days, the 1911 had 0 misfires. The Savage Arms had 37. And so in 1911, and that's why it's called the 1911, was adapted by the U.S. military. And it served through 1986. It was replaced by some foreign thing, I can't remember. There is no pistol out there that I can think of that has a history of this. It is coming up on its 115th anniversary. It's still shot by a ton of people. It's my personal favorite. And it's, I mean, I'm sorry, but it's just a sexy ass pistol. It's heavy. Yeah, but it's also got a 5-inch barrel, which makes it very accurate at range. Got to be careful though. I've found that 1911s don't like hollow points. But with a slug that big, do you really need a hollow point? You know, God forbid we ever need to use it in self-defense. And yeah, for example, here's a Smith & Wesson 9. If I'm going to carry for a long period of time or on a car trip or in the truck, I have a belly band holster. It's light, polymer. Over 10 yards, I don't think I could hit the broadside of a barn with this thing. And I'm a pretty damn good shot. This, on the other hand, at 15, 20 yards, I can rip out the face of a silhouette target. So, that being said, let's talk about what is affordable. So when I first got into 1911s, I wanted a World War II issue, like a Remington Rand or an Ithaca. I'm not that rich. I mean, if anybody out there wants to sell me one at a reasonable rate, I'd be glad to have it. But these are all later versions. This is my first. It's a Colt, and it is a typical A1. Arched mainspring housing, shorter trigger, longer beaver tail. $1,300 used. Great pistol. Probably hold its value. Maybe hand it down to my grandkids. Another Colt of mine. It is a hybrid of the original 1911 with the flat mainspring housing, but it also has the scallop by the trigger and the short trigger. I'm sorry, Colt, but neither one of my Colts are really good shooters. I mean, it's hard to hold a pattern, and I shoot a lot. It's not like I'm some novice. So let's get into affordable 1911. Springfield Armory. And I'm sorry. I mean, you can jazz these things up. You can nickel plate them. You can engrave them. You can put badass sights on them. But to me, this is a military issue weapon. It should look like a military issue weapon. It should be parkerized. It should have rosewood or plastic grips on it. And it should look just like this. And out of any pistol, 1911 or whatever, you want POA, point of aim, and POI, point of impact, to match up. This is a great shooter. And it looks like a GI model. Other than for whatever reason, they angled this serrations on the slide, which is not typical of a 1911. Great gun. $795. Rock Island. GI issue. Looks like the real deal. It came with smooth grips. I changed them to the rosewood with a Colt diamond pattern. Then again, just a fantastic shooter. You know, it goes where you aim. The one thing I will say, is all these GI pistols have very simple sights. A black rear sight that can be adjusted with a drift, and a front sight that can't be adjusted, and they're both black. And to be honest with you, in the sunlight, it's hard to aim. So I take white fingernail polish, I don't know if you can see that or not, and dab the front sight so it's a little easier to see. Like I said, great shooter. $500. Okay, now to the most inexpensive, and I'm sorry, I can't find anything wrong with this pistol. It's Thesis. It's manufactured in Turkey. And I can't remember where the U.S. company that distributes it. Tennessee, I think, maybe. I mean, this is sure enough GI issue. I mean, even the barrel's parkerized, the rosewood grips, the GI sights. It hasn't even got the lanyard loop, which would have been GI issue. Less than $400. And I'm sorry to Colt and everybody else. These are, I have another one I'm going to show you in a minute. These are the best shooting 1911s I own. They never jam. They, point of aim is point of impact. It's a beautiful replica, even to the vertical serrations. And I love it has a lanyard loop on it. And then this is probably my favorite. It's also a Thesis. Pretty similar. Has a lanyard loop, has rosewood grips. Great thing about this one though, in the slide is stamped M1911A1 U.S. Army, and of course, if you look at my shirt, I'm an Army vet. So this is my absolute favorite. Let's get back to concealed carry. This is hammerless Smith & Wesson. Great pistol. Great pistol. Light. Close range, probably, well outdo this, but no safety other than the grip safety. 1911. This is how I carry my 1911. I'm hoping you can see this with the light. Hammer cocked, slide safety on. 1911 has two safeties. You have to depress this for it to go off. And you also have to move this down. But there's one in the chamber. It is cocked. It is safe. You can drop this thing on concrete and it won't go off until you move this down. It takes a split second. Those of us that concealed carry, God forbid we ever have to use it. But I want something I can depend on. And I want something that has serious knockdown power. And I'm sorry, all you 9mm carriers. I know there's a ton of you and you think this is the greatest thing since Swiss cheese. I take my 1911 any day. 230 grains, half-inch size bullet. I don't care how far away you are. You will be protected and you will be safe. Besides that, it's just a sexy ass gun. How many movies have you seen over the Humphrey Bogart movies or war movies or whatever where you saw this pistol? And the history. I mean, there's virtually been no change to this since 1911, since 1910. And it also has a straight pull trigger, which I can't think of another pistol that has a straight pull. They're hinged. They rotate. This comes straight back. Easy to maintain. For you YouTube followers, thank you for watching. For one thing, I never expected a single view. Watch Hickok 45. He's out of Tennessee. He's my favorite. He is also a 1911 nut. And for those of you that watched a short of mine that was fairly popular about the butt plate shoulder rest on M1A, I have to admit that comment, that joke about liberal lawmakers thinking that was a an item on that weapon that would make it go out and create atrocities all on its own, was, I got that from Tucker Carlson being on Hickok 45. Anyways, if anybody has any questions about 1911s, I consider myself somewhat of an expert. I mean, if you want to know my opinion on how much to spend to get a reliable, decent shooting pistol, I mean, I'd be more than happy to answer your comments. Again, thanks for watching, and y'all surprised the heck out of me by even tuning in. So, God bless the United States of America. Keep her safe, keep her strong. God bless our veterans. Thank you for your service. Y'all have a great day.